find out about the new elite organization on campus just for ladies.
Plus, Troy plays host to a two-day musical festival. Stay tuned. TrojanVision Nightly News starts now.
From the high-definition digital production center on the Troy campus, with news from Troy University locations around the world, this is TrojanVision Nightly News.
Hello and welcome to TrojanVision Nightly News for January 13, 2012. I'm Courtney Still.
And I'm Tiffany Lester. Thank you for joining us this evening. A new organization on campus is trying to help female students get a leg up in preparing for the real world. The new group made their debut last night and already seems popular among some students. Some Troy University students have been working to bring a new purpose-driven organization onto campus, and Thursday afternoon was the first chance to see who wanted to get involved. The Miss Elite Society is for female Troy University students only, and their motto is to motivate and instill sophisticated students into an elite society.
Our president and our vice president, it was basically their idea, but I think basically what our organization is founded on is the betterment of women on Troy University's campus, and we just want to set an example of how a young lady should act and just promote that around our campus.
The executive board had potential members play an icebreaker game to help them get comfortable with each other and to see some of their individual personalities.
But it was a good game to get everybody, at ease.
The women that came to the meeting got to meet welcoming board members while also learning how the organization can help them become more professional.
All the people on the executive board seem to be very inviting and want you to be a part of their group and their society. So
I feel like it's a great opportunity to, like they say, embedded women on campus. It's a great way to be a role model for children. I hope that for the university it brings a lot of respect towards females and a lot of extra service projects.
We would like for girls to learn skills that not only will benefit them in college, but that they will, carry on into the work field and just for the rest of their lives.
The informational meeting seemed to be a success as more people showed up than Mayhand had originally anticipated.
I definitely wasn't expecting that many people to show up. We had to go and get more chairs, but the turnout was great.
The Miss Elite Society's next meeting will be next Thursday, January 19th at 5 p.m. in the Trojan Center, room 119.
The amphitheater was a popular place for student activities, but once construction on the new North Quad began, the amphitheater went away. Well, now construction has started on a new one in a different location. Work recently began on the new amphitheater, which will be located behind Alumni Hall as a part of Janice Hawkins Park. According to Director of Physical Plant Mark Salmon, the new amphitheater has projected capacity of around 2,000. The new amphitheater is the second phase of Janice Hawkins Park project. The expected completion date for the new addition is anticipated for September or October of this year. The Troy University Music Department is playing host to a two-day music festival for high school students from across our region.
And this event is designed to benefit both Troy and high school students as they learn more about various types of music and gain knowledge in a weekend jam-packed with musical activities. Deatra Montgomery has the story.
Troy University's School of Music is hosting the 5th annual Southeast United States Honor Choir that highlights some of the finest high school choral students from across the region.
Our events today, the 5th annual Southeastern United States High School Honor Choir, is an opportunity for students from around the region, Alabama, Georgia, and the Florida Panhandle to come together in a mass choir setting and work with our esteemed guest clinician, Dr. Bingham Vick.
As the high school students come in with eager attitudes, Troy University students share these feelings in hopes to gain a stronger knowledge of high school choral managing skills.
I think it's so exciting that I got this chance to go because it's like a really big honor and it's, something that colleges look for when you apply for jobs, and I'm so excited.
I just hope everyone has a good time. As Troy students, we're here to learn how high school choral students are and how they work, and we learn through our education classes how to manage that. So we're seeing some of our future teacher skills in place today. And for the high school students that are here, I hope they learn to love Troy as much as I do and just see that this is an awesome department and music is a great thing to be a part of.
This two-day event is full of musical performances and fun activities. However, this festival does serve as an essential recruiting tool for visiting high school students and the university.
A wonderful event for these students. It's very beneficial in that it gives them some new experiences, new music to learn. In addition, we also hold scholarship auditions during the weekend. So we'll have 40 high school seniors auditioning for scholarships this weekend, and hopefully we can recruit all of those students to join our choirs at Troy University.
Though the visiting students have multiple rehearsals to attend, they would also have time to enjoy some entertainment for themselves.
The students will be in rehearsals for most of today and tomorrow, but they will have the opportunity to sit back and enjoy the Troy University Vocal and Choral Department. We'll have a concert tonight, and the students from the high schools will be our guests. We will be singing for them.
Troy, TrojanVision News.
The event began this morning and will end with a final concert tomorrow at 3 p.m.
And now taking a look at news from around the state, Autauga County Sheriff's officials are investigating after a human skull and bones were found in a field near a small community of Vida. The sheriff says a hunter found the skull while checking on a deer he had shot.
Federal and state prosecutors say they are seeing an increasing number of cases of human trafficking in Alabama, including those in which people are brought into the country for illegal activities such as prostitution. Officials held a news conference yesterday in Montgomery.
The parents of Natalie Holloway, the American teenager who disappeared in Aruba in 2005, say their ordeal hasn't ended with the judge declaring their daughter dead. Lawyers for the parents said yesterday they hope a young Dutchman seen leaving a bar with Holloway on the last day she was seen alive might one day be brought before a U.S. court on charges stemming from the case.
Still to come on TrojanVision Nightly News, it's the first weekend students have been back in school and there's plenty of sports action on campus to keep them entertained. Danielle Percival will be in next with the details of this weekend's sports.
But first, the 4 Marines seen in the video urinating on Afghan bodies have been identified. We'll have the details on that story when we return.
I'm Tara Merchner at the Pentagon. Investigations are underway involving U.S. Marines accused of desecrating the corpses of Taliban fighters. The latest coming up.
Hands can do incredible things. Now they can even help save a life with hands-only CPR. If you see an adult suddenly collapse, just call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of the chest until help arrives. Learn more at handsonlycpr.org.
If you can learn one thing in life, especially if you go into business, it's how to communicate and how to work with others. And I do think Troy taught me that.
Troy reaches out to people who they see their commitment to public service.
Troy just attracts students that want to give back to the community, that want to give back all across the world.
We want to educate the mind to think, the heart to feel, the body to act. We want to enable our students to go out into this world and make a difference.
Troy University, in class, online, within reach. Troy.edu.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning TrojanVision Nightly News.
And now for a look at what's happening across the nation and around the world, we'll go to Tiffany Lester at the Global News Desk. Tiffany?
Several investigations are underway into U.S. Marines accused of desecrating the corpses of Taliban fighters. But it seems even the promise of swift punishment will do little to stop the anti-American outrage. Tara Mergener reports from the Pentagon.
CBS News has learned 3 of the 4 Marines shown urinating on the corpses of Taliban fighters have hired lawyers. Military investigators have interviewed 2 of them and say they were reluctant to talk and refused to let investigators search their belongings. The Pentagon not only wants to identify who is in the video, it also wants to know who made it and watched it after the battalion returned from Afghanistan. Everyone involved could face punishment.
These guys know it's not acceptable. They know it's a stupid thing. It's the kind of thing you'd expect them to do when they're out drunk, and there's no excuse for it.
Photos of the battalion in action last summer reveal other inappropriate behaviors, including this picture of a sniper without his uniform or body armor. U.S. military officials have condemned the video but have not yet filed charges. The Marine Corps has appointed a 3-star general to decide what disciplinary action is warranted. Still, the incident is tarnishing the image of U.S. military forces fighting in Afghanistan for more than 10 years.
This shocking video may serve as a recruiting ground for anti-Americanism within Taliban or in other places.
The Afghan government and the Taliban are continuing to move forward with U.S.-backed peace talks, but the Taliban and Afghans are expressing outrage against the U.S. This man says the soldiers are criminals, and it's time for all of them to leave Afghan soil. Tara Mergener for CBS News, the Pentagon.
Most of the Republican presidential candidates were on the campaign trail in South Carolina today, looking for votes and trying to slow Mitt Romney's momentum. But Newt Gingrich began his day in Florida, where absentee ballots are already being cast. Manuel Gallegos has the latest.
Rick Perry was on target at a South Carolina shooting range.
That'll work.
Earlier, the Texas governor took aim at Washington insiders.
I, again, am the outsider who is willing to go to Washington, to step on some toes, to completely overhaul how Washington works.
In Miami, supporters gave Newt Gingrich a warm welcome at a Cuban restaurant. He's looking ahead to the Florida primary and predicting a win in South Carolina.
If you look at the most recent polls, Romney is sliding in South Carolina every morning because as people realize that he was not a conservative in Massachusetts.
Gingrich is calling on a political action committee that supports him to remove inaccuracies in a film that attacks Mitt Romney. The frontrunner has his own new ad. It portrays him as a job-creating conservative and defends his work for the Bain investment firm.
Said Mr. Romney's GOP opponents are embarrassing themselves.
Rick Santorum says Romney has a bigger problem.
He is a Massachusetts moderate to liberal governor who has changed his opinion on just about every issue that's out there.
But Romney's challengers have an issue of their own, getting their names on the ballot. Rick Santorum didn't gather enough signatures to be on the ballots in the District of Columbia or Virginia primaries. Gingrich, Rick Perry, and John Huntsman are suing to be included on Virginia's ballots. Only Romney and Ron Paul qualified in every state. Manuel Gallegos, CBS News.
Does your baby have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep? Most parents think sleep issues are a part of infancy that will soon pass, but a new study says differently. Allison Harmlin reports.
B. B is for Birdie the bus.
Kristen Morell hasn't had a good night's sleep in years. Her 2-year-old Daniel has trouble sleeping through the night.
He only got maybe 4 hours of sleep. He'd just be tossing and turning and whining.
And Kristen's not alone. Ohio researchers found 10% of infants and toddlers have sleep problems at some point, including trouble falling asleep, staying in their own beds, and having nightmares. They also found that even by age 3, 21% of children were still not getting a good night's rest.
If you had a child who had a sleep problem at 6 months of age, they were basically 3 times as likely to have a persistent sleep problem.
This study also shows that more than 12% of young children snore, but surprisingly, many parents didn't consider that something to be concerned about.
A lot of people will equate snoring with getting a good quality sleep, but that's actually a sign that there is some turbulence in the way that a child breathes, and so that needs to be checked out.
It turns out that was Daniel's problem.
The snoring would wake him up sometimes.
He was suffering from sleep apnea. His adenoids and tonsils were removed, and he has ear tubes now so he can breathe easier.
He seems more energized. He can go more hours without being cranky.
And finally giving everyone some much-needed rest. Allison Harmelin for CBS News, Bergenfield, New Jersey.
And that wraps things up from the Global News Desk. Now back to you, Courtney.
Thanks, Tiffany. And now Danielle Percival joins us with a look at sports. So Danielle, this will be the first weekend back at school, and it's the perfect time to have a basketball game here at home.
That's right. Both Trojan basketball teams will be in action here at home, but first up in our top story, maybe it's just coincidence that it's Friday the 13th, but it might prove to be a fright to some Trojan fans. One of the Trojans' top defensive players, defensive end Jonathan Massaquoi, will be foregoing his senior season to enter the 2012 NFL Draft. Massaquoi spent 2 seasons with the Trojans and totaled 19.5 sacks in his career. In back-to-back games in 2010, Massaquoi recorded 3 sacks, which was his career high. He was not only one of the top players on the defense, but also a fan favorite. Massaquoi was named Preseason Defensive Player of the Year in 2011 and was a first-team All-Conference selection in 2010. Massaquoi only played 2 years for Troy after transferring from Butler Community College. And moving ahead to the upcoming squad the Trojans will be putting on the field, head coach Larry Blakeney announced Thursday the Trojans have signed 15 players to national letters of intent during the mid-year signing period. 11 of the 15 players will be junior college transfers, including a name Trojan fans may find familiar, Jamel Johnson. Of the other 4 players, 2 are gray shirts. 1 is a football bowl subdivision transfer, and 1 has graduated high school early and is already enrolled. National Signing Day is Wednesday, February 1st, just 2.5 weeks away. And moving from one sport that is already wrapped up competing to one that's just getting started, both of the Trojan tennis teams will be competing over the weekend and beginning their seasons. As head coach Eric Hayes explains, the Trojans have some tough tests ahead of them against nationally ranked teams.
The girls open up this weekend against we're at Athens, Georgia, and they play Kansas State Saturday at 3 o'clock, University of Georgia Sunday at 1. Both teams are ranked nationally. I think Georgia's ranked 7th in the country and Kansas State is ranked 40-something. Monday, the girls will go home. I'll meet the guys in Tallahassee, and they open up on Martin Luther King Day at 4 o'clock against Florida State. And Florida State also is nationally ranked, but you know, it's going to be a good test for both teams.
Again, the women will be in action Saturday and Sunday, and the men will play on Monday. And while the tennis teams will be in action on the road, the basketball teams will be at home, facing in-state rival South Alabama. The Jaguars have only lost 1 conference game so far, and the Trojans have dropped 5 of their last 7 against South Alabama. While that stat might not be in the Trojans' favor, Troy did beat the Jags by 25 last year at Sartain Arena. And because of that, head coach Mike Murphy says this game might be even more competitive than most rivalry games.
We've got an exciting game Saturday against South Alabama, in-state rival. In the past, our games have been very competitive. Last year, we beat them quite handily here, and I'm sure they're not going to forget about that, and they're looking for some revenge. They're coming in on a 3-game winning streak. We know it's going to be a challenge, but we're looking forward to it.
The Trojans will get their chance to knock off the Jags again Saturday as tip-off is set for 5:15. And the men's basketball team will also be put to the test Saturday as they too face the South Alabama Jaguars, who come into Sartain Arena off their first conference victory, which came last night against Louisiana Lafayette. That put the Jags' record in Sun Belt play at 1-3, the same as the Trojans. The Jags have the leading scorer in the league, Augustin Rubit, on their side, but as head coach Don Maestri says, Rubit isn't the only threat the Jags bring to the court.
South Alabama is the best rebounding team in the league. They've got the top 2 rebounders in the conference and the 19th. In the top 20, they're 1, 2, and number 19. They're 3 inside players, the best rebounders in the conference. So that's one thing we're going to have to concern ourselves with, is making sure that we compete on the backboards.
The Trojans and Jags will be in action in Sartain Arena Saturday night following the women's game, with tip-off set for 8 o'clock. The game will also be televised by CSS. And although the game will be televised, if you're in Troy, if you're able to get to Troy, come out to the game. Definitely come and support these squads as they're taking on in-state rival South Alabama.
All right, start off the new year right.
That's right.
Thank you, Danielle.
And still to come on Troy TrojanVision Nightly News, Aaron Taylor finds out how Troy students can help with care for the Community Day in today's Trojan Talk.
Plus, last night we felt the bite of winter as temperatures fell below the freezing point. Will the sting last throughout the weekend? Derica?
Well, according to days are getting shorter and colder. I will let you know what the weekend may look like next in weather.
Hi, I'm Mia Hamm. As a professional soccer player and a future soccer mom, I know how fun and rewarding sports can be. I also know how frustrating it is when you're sidelined by an injury. So I've teamed up with the American Association of Orthodontists to ask young athletes to play it safe when playing sports. I spent years training to become a world-class athlete. I know what it takes to become an expert on the field. Orthodontists understand this too. They're experts in their field, helping kids and adults obtain healthy, beautiful smiles. They want to help athletes prevent injuries and stay in the game. It only takes a second to get hurt, and too many athletes are risking injury because they're not properly equipped during games and practices. Wear the right protective gear, like mouth guards, face masks, and helmets. Your first line of defense against preventable injuries. Play it safe, achieve your goals, and keep smiling. Visit braces.org.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning Troy TrojanVision Nightly News.
And now Derica James joins us with a look at weather.
So Derica, we had a chilly start to the first week of the semester. What should we be expecting for the first weekend of the semester?
Well, the first weekend is still going to be cool, but the temperatures will get higher, but I'll get more into that later. First, let's look at our campus snapshot. As you can see, the sun has already set here at Troy, and as you can see, it's going to start with a beautiful night. And as we go into our current conditions, we see that the skies are clear. Temperature coming in at 43 degrees. Dew point is at 18 degrees. Humidity is at 37%. Barometer is at 30.19 inches and falling, with winds coming from the west at 8 miles per hour. As we go into today's statistics, a high of 45, low of 22. There was no rain today. Sunrise at 6:44 a.m. and the sun set at 5 o'clock. As we look at temperatures across the state, we see Huntsville coming in at 35, Birmingham at 40, Montgomery at 43, Troy at 43, Phoenix City at 43, Dothan at 47, and Mobile coming in at 48. So most of the state is only seeing about 40-degree temperatures. So as we look at the current temperatures of the southeast, we see that the temperature is not getting really much higher than that. It's staying basically in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, with Miami at the highest at 73, but that's about the highest temperature. As we look at the U.S. as a whole, still seeing pretty much the same thing, with some areas actually going to single digits. But as we look at temperature change over the past 24 hours, we see that there's not really a significant difference in some areas. But as we look here in the west, they're actually seeing an increase in temperature. But we're seeing probably about an 8-10 degree difference since yesterday in our area. As we look at current surface map, we see that the west is seeing a few high pressure systems giving that increase in temperature. But over into the east, they're seeing a little bit of snow here and there and a cold front coming through. But in our area, it's pretty much clear. Light winds for right now. We see that cold front has moved out of the southeast area, and over in Texas, there's a little high pressure system that's moving into the Gulf. And as we look at current wind chills, we see that in our area is about 38 wind chill. That's exactly really what we're seeing with the wind that we have now. So not much difference from the actual temperature. As we go into Saturday, we see that our area should stay clear, but in the east they're maybe seeing some snow pretty soon. On Sunday, we're also going to be clear. On Monday, you can see that the northern part of Alabama may be experiencing some rain on Monday, probably about a 10 to 20% chance on that. But as we go into Tuesday, all of Alabama may be seeing some rain. Our area has about a 60% chance of seeing some rain, and it's not going to be too much to worry about, probably about a half an inch to an inch of rain. So you still want to have your umbrella for that for Tuesday. As we look at tonight's forecast, it's going to be partly cloudy with a chilly night, no rain tonight. Winds coming from the west at 4 miles per hour and can get as low as 28 degrees. So if you're going to be out, you want to make sure that you have that jacket with you. On tomorrow, we're going to have partly cloudy skies, light wind in the morning, probably going west at 5 miles per hour. But as we get into the afternoon, that's going to change with the winds coming from the southwest at 12 miles per hour. So it's going to pick up very much going into the afternoon. And the high is going to be around 58 degrees. So it's still going to need that jacket as you go through the day. And as we look at our 4-day forecast, we see Saturday high 58, low of 32. Sunday is going to be a high of 61, low of 40. Monday high of 65, low of 50. Tuesday they're going to at 60% chance of rain with a high of 70. So as you can see, as we go through the weekend into the week, the temperatures are going to rise. But Tuesday, it might be a little muggy with that rain coming in.
Yeah, I'll be prepared with my wind coat and my rain jacket just in case when we see that rain come into our area.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.